Whoever they are.
I'm willing to believe.
There's the...
It's strange how my my taller boots don't let as much snow as yours.
Oh, shut up.
So here we are installing the sap lines back into the barrels. We've been having a really weird year with syrup and sapping this year. I've been having to pull my sap lines out of the barrel and let it drip out during the night on specific nights, so that we've been having these little flash freezes, so I don't want my barrels to completely fill up with sap in the night and then all of a sudden freeze for the next day or two and be a solid block inside them. So I pull them when I can see the forecast saying we're going to flash cold, and then put them back in when I got a forecast saying it's going to run again. Victim of having no sun. So we plugged in our lines again. Now basically we just wait and see if the weather will give us a couple days of sap running before turning cold again. Gotcha. I saved the day. I'm a hero.
Yep.
You can tell she wasn't a Boy Scout.
Nor a Girl Scout either.
The motto, be prepared, is not running through your veins. So yeah, that's step one of making syrup. A lot of waiting. A lot of waiting. And a lot of giving her the beans. And a lot of waiting. A lot of giving her the beans.
All-nighters.
And then dying. The end. Not so much on this one though. There should be something heavy on here. I think it's that one that's dead, and those two over there.
I get the impression that Minnie thinks we should feed her.
There's bees alive!
Whoop, whoop.
Want to see?
Just look at them.
Getting into this emergency rations. Sweating like crazy though. But they're alive. There's one I want to check over there. It was swimming in water. Poor thing.
Oh yeah.
So I drilled a giant hole in the side of it to try and get some air into it, but cold snap might have snipped it out.
I had forgotten, but the other day, when I was sweeping the snow off of the Suburban,
Let's see, they're clearing out there.
I'd say they're alive, or they were.
There's one alive. He's flying.
There was a bee in the windshield of the Suburban.
Oh yeah?
In the snow.
So it was this. No, it was this one. This was my best hive last year that barely crawled through winter. Oh, that was dumb. Ouch.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, would you look at that? That right there would be life.
I don't know how much more food they got left, but they're alive. That whole paper was water pooled in it. So I drilled a big hole in the side and tipped it up. Well, let's not disturb them anymore, lest I die. We'll just go with ignorance is bliss, and if you want, you can put your head right down near there and listen.
I hear buzzing.
You're buzzing?
Somebody was not happy. You were knocking on their door.
That's we got our sap now down here. We had about a 3/4 of a barrel or a tote here, so now we're just in the process of boiling down. Get there. Got a nice good boil going. As you can see, it's pretty clear still, so there's not very much sap in it, or sugar yet. But when we get everything all gathered up from tonight, I should expect, after everything's boiled, that we will have in the ballpark of about 5 gallon. So we did here, obviously there's way more advanced systems in our farm method here. Basically what I did is I just took an old chest freezer and gutted the walls and filled with concrete. So here we have a blower, and what that does, injects air into the base. There's an elbow just inside, it goes down and makes a straight finger that runs to the back, and that shoots a pile of air into the firebox and basically runs it like a forge. However, it's kind of it's good and bad. It does definitely boil more gallons per hour. However, you start eating a pile of wood. So if you're wanting to stand around it all day and keep throwing wood in it, it's good. But if you're wanting to fill it up and walk away and just let it kind of gently boil, then I leave the blower off. It's a pretty simple thing I made. It's very crude, but the price was definitely right. I took an old chest freezer and cut a firebox hole in it and gutted the walls, filled them all up with concrete, and that way it's strong and heavy and won't blow away in the wind. It's not an extremely efficient system by any means, but like I say, the price is right. And I probably made 600 liters of syrup out of this thing, so it's not like it doesn't work. It's So right now I'm not overly pushing it hard to take a lot off. Basically my hope for tonight is just kind of gently boil it down and end up with something around so that I can finish tonight, or tomorrow rather. Something that's not too cumbersome to finish. So if I have to boil off say like 100 gallons tomorrow, that'll be a good enough number for me, I think. So yeah, super exciting. You're gonna get me hurt. Well, we're still boiling away. Unfortunately, the wind's kicked up pretty hard here. So, and as you can tell by the temperature, it has plummeted. So now we're in a race to get this boiled down before that entire tote freezes into a big old block. We've been boiling now for almost 24 hours. I'll give it another 3 hours and that'll be true. It's time to... It's hard to keep up a good boil with this wind and being -8. But it's coming off not too bad. I have to park my buggy right up beside it. My valve, there's the word. My valve is freezing right up on me, so hopefully by snuggling it up there it'll keep it from freezing before we get it all empty. Because that would be no fun if that happened. Blocking out the sun. Well, I finally finished up all my paperwork for end of year junk. Guess that means I might be able to go and read you guys a chapter. With any luck, I'll be able to get the rest of that 300 liters or so into the pan by 6. Let's see if we're averaging about a 7 gallon an hour boil off. It's currently about 1, so it's 30 gallons down. Probably put about 25 in the pan at the moment. No 40 gallons. So. It might be closer to 8 before I get that tote empty. Once the tote's empty, then I'm sort of home free. Then I can not have to worry about freezing, obviously, because it's doing that. It's a very weird year. I've never really felt or dealt with too much of this sort of thing where you get a really crazy run, then you get a flash freeze. And it's supposed to go down to about -20 tonight. That's what they were last calling for. So we'll hope we can get out of this pickle that we're kind of in. It's got a good strong boil in there. Alright, let's go read you a chapter out of Gambler's Gold. Spring sorta here. Well, we're in the heart of the cold snap. It was minus, I think, 18, 19 last night. Stop looking at me, dog. This is Roman. There's Pip hiding. Anyways, we managed to get our tote empty. Got it all into the pan. So we're now in our final approach. Kind of is hard to film. Kind of need to remain pretty focused on it. But a lot of syrup in here. I expect there'll be 20 liters or more, maybe 25, we'll see. We'll give a final count. So that means I probably have another, I would guess 10 gallons of sap water to boil out of this mixture before we're in the right area. So this is where I really like having the blower. As you'll see, there isn't very much coals in there, which without the blower it ends up with a huge bed of coals, and what happens is that there's so much residual heat out of that big bed of coals, it's hard to finish in the pan. So with this I can just, once I get close, just shut down the blower, and then the heat will drop right off. Leave the door open, or leave the vault door open, I guess. It's not really a door. That way it keeps the heat fairly at bay. But right now we're just kind of throwing in spruce and stuff that burns up quick. So we're getting fairly close. There's a few methods you can tell how it's done. There's a real correct way, and that's you fill up a tube, a metal tube, and then you sink a sinker into it. Not a sinker, but it bobs up and down, so when it hits the right sugar thickness point, it'll float. I never really liked it. It could be I never gave it enough try, but the amount of money I spent on it, I think I tried it enough to know I don't love it. What I had found, if I remember right, is that, well, you sink it in, so when it sinks, it goes to the bottom if it's not thick enough. And then to try and get your glass precision instrument that's weighted with shot back out, it's kind of miserable, because every time you want to retry it, you had to dump it back out and put your sticky thermometer somewhere while it builds up weight from being measured in syrup stuff. And then it felt like by the time it told you were close, I was too late to get it out of a pan. Like then it'd be too thick by the time I heated it back up and measured again. So it seemed like it was very precise, but it was the range of it might be ready to it's ready was very, very small. So it wasn't a very practical, usable thing. So what I try to do is pull my syrup around 218 Fahrenheit, because what that does for me, in my case of how I operate here, is my arm's getting tired of holding you out there. The way I operate is so I'll pull all this out into smaller big canning pots, bring it in the house, and then let it settle for a day or two. And a lot of that soot and sand and ash and all the stuff that comes from just boiling sinks to the bottom. I then dump the top of it off through a small filter. I gotta put you down, my arm's falling off. So then as I was saying, I put it through I have it settle for a few days, and then I pour it through just a regular thin filter, and then I then bring it back up to temperature with the egg white in that cold syrup. So between it just setting and warming back up again, and then boiling off and scooping out the egg white, I find that I'm pretty darn close to where I need to be for finishing 219 temperature. But I found I couldn't really do that very well with I think it's called a hydrometer or something. I can't remember what it's called. It's quite hard to film, obviously, with so much steam and stuff flying around. So I've kind of slowed down now. I did a check, and I was 217-ish at boil breaking point. So we're getting reasonably close. I just wanted to give Jen a bit of time inside to get all the canning pots together and ready for when we go ahead and pull this. I imagine she's probably pretty close to ready now, and I just simply need to send her a little, "Hey, I'm ready." Usually she's out here hanging out with me, but it's cold. So what I'm doing with the spoon, it's called sheeting, and when it's done, your last drop has a real stringy tail, or your last drop looks pretty. I'll see if I can bring one over. It's gonna be hot and hurt me. Ow, ow. So it's getting in a vicinity of syrup, but it's not there yet. I'd imagine you need to boil another probably a gallon of water out of here before it's ready. I'm gonna we'll hit the blower, take a temperature reading. If you're looking for an idea of what to use for a cheap blower, for quite a few years I used a hairdryer. Just get one with the cold air blow feature and tape it on, and now you got a hairdryer blower. So just go and steal one out of the missus and she'll wonder where it went, and you'll have a maple syrup to sweet talk her up with again. Right now, 206, trying to break a boil. 207. I feel my battery's getting low. $211, $212, $213, $214. Come on. Hard to see. A little more hotter spot. The 216 mark. So you don't want to touch your thermometer into the bottom of the pan. It'll give you a false reading. So like if I touch the bottom, I'm already up to 220. So you want to kind of float it in amongst the boiling area. You can boil hotter than it actually its boiling point is, so you got to kind of be careful of that. You want just a nice gentle spot. So we're at 217 and 0.2. So if we can get another degree up on this thing, I'd be tickled. 217 and a half ish. 217. I guess I do have a hold feature I could show you. Didn't realize that. So this is the point where you need to be very careful how much, or I do anyway, need to be very careful how much wood I put into that stove. It's not so much, well it is, but I'm not so much worried about the heat right now. It's when I'm scooping out, because I don't have a takeoff valve off this cheap pan. So I have to scoop it out, most of it, at which point it's still sitting on the heat, and at which point if it's too hot inside the firebox, it's easy to scorch. Because then once I get it scooped down enough, I can then go and pick up the entire pan and dump it into the pot. But we might need to throw in one stick, because we can just barely break a boil with what we got. I'm going to give her another stick. I don't know if I ever finished this much syrup in a pan before. Probably have, but it's getting up there to what the most I've ever done. It's a real fine line between pulling too early. Too early is better, but too late's really bad. But pulling too early is kind of sucks too, because you can spend an awful lot of time boiling in the kitchen, making a big steamy mess, trying to fix it by pulling too early. So if you can just kind of slowly meander outside, even if it takes you an hour or two, at least you're not making a huge mess inside the house and carrying extra water and thinking you got lots of syrup. One thing you need to be sort of aware of too is the closer you get to, like, it isn't a straight line of when how the water comes out. Like a percentage is more, when you get more to a concentrated syrup, there's more, the percentage of water is less per what you're doing. So taking let's say you had 100 liters of stuff in here and you take 1 liter of sap water out, we only dropped 1%. But if I have 20 and you take 1 liter of water out, I think that's 5%. Oh, I used my brain too much and made myself sneeze. Whew. So yeah, you can raise your temperature, your boil point can raise fairly quick too. So just be aware of that. That's getting kind of close, and she just sort of doesn't want to fall off the spoon. That usually is a good sign. My dad made this pan probably when I was close to the age I am now to what he is. He probably made it then. Never expecting that his retarded son would decide to make a semi-commercial production system with it, running 400 and some taps. Boiling day and night. I think it was probably one of those things that got thrown together in a real hurry, and here I am trying to. I've probably made about, I don't know, 600 liters of syrup out of this thing. So you do the math of 600 and need about 40 liters of sap to make 1 liter. So 40 times 600 is what? 24,000 liters of sap? Is my math anywhere close to right? I don't know. I'd hate to look like an idiot on camera. Let's check. Oh, I got a message from the missus. She says she's ready. So 600 liters times 40. 24,000, look at that. I did go to school. 24,000 liters of sap went through this little pan just since I've owned it. Might be time to upgrade from an old crappy freezer and piece of body metal from vehicle. I wonder if I'll look back someday and laugh at the things my kids are doing. Now she's boiling like syrup. Better get a measurement on that. It gets a certain look to it. The bubbles kind of go small. Get out of the way, steam, so I can see. Let's see. Come on, get out of the way. This is when glasses would really, really suck. I got a reading of 218 and a half. It's a little bit suspicious, but based on the drip test, the size of these bubbles, I'm gonna say it's worth pulling by the time everything gets ready here. Oh yeah, that's ready. So it kind of hung in a teardrop shape before it dropped. Mmm, tastes delicious. Now I just need my companion. And you need to find a new spot of purchase. Making that thing sit somewhat flat.
Is there a flat place?
Don't know.
Go on. No kissing. Wrong with the leg? What?
Might have got slightly run over by a tractor.
Ran it over. Slurp it all up.
That wouldn't be sanitary.
Or wise for my lips, like.
You're recording. Wanted to make sure it actually was recording.
Go on.
She's gonna be dirty.
We have the eggs.
Kind of why I haven't really cared that they've been stockpiling.
So when's it supposed to warm up again?
I think starting Sunday.
Just tomorrow. And then she'll really be hopping. Won't sleep at all next week.
I'll give her some sap today.
You
wanna-
just decided to.
Get that in the house. I'll start filling the other one. I gotta keep moving this pan around. It's settled kind of weird. Are you okay or do you need a hand? So right now my pan's back corner is exposed. It's hard to keep this thing level. So what happens is it melts the frost underneath it eventually, and then it kind of shifts a little bit. So you try and get as much out with the dipper, and then you lift it off and dump her in.
Bring out another bucket.
I don't think so, but I think it's gonna fill that thing pretty close. It's a problem, there's so much steam I can't actually see much syrups in this thing. Can't really stop neither.
They're coming down. That and this.
That's why I can't stop.
I know.
The frost is melted and the firebox is tipped into the earth a bit.
corner or something?
Well, at some point I'll be able to lift the entire pan, but
Might be soon. Don't worry, it won't all fit.
well, worst case scenario is I have to put some on the ground.
Just say.
I said terrible.
48 hours in the making? Straight boiling?
Give or take.
And they do. I don't think she's gonna fit. Lift this.
Oh, worst case scenario is I gotta. Where are you going?
I can still lift it.
I can lift it. Alright, here's
Get
where.
that off of there and put it on here.
Huh?
You have to leave it down.
Yeah. Alright. Steady as she goes. Let's hope my.
I can see nothing at this point.
I can. That's why I got a big old belly. Alrighty. Just keep it steady.
This table is on too much of a tilt. If I set her down flat, she'll spill all over me.
Alrighty. Here we go.
There it goes.
Any waddle the way. Waddle, waddle.
No. Then you go. One clean. Out of the way.
Just stay still, dog. The burn in my arms. There's the firebox. All right, so that's that process all done. Still at a puff from carrying that all. I had a quick look there, it didn't make much sense, but it added up to about 9 gallons, which I wasn't expecting. That's 36-ish liters. So I don't know. I'll have to we'll touch base when we get her all boiled down and all that good stuff. Bye for now.